So then I said, I'm not going to jail for you or anybody.
Can't.
Hi guys,
Hey.
welcome back to another episode of WEDucation. I'm here again with Brent and Caroline at the Chicory. This episode is for our wedding vendors. So get comfy and cozy because we have some hopefully useful, I think, etiquette tips, we're going to call them. But no, we're just talking a little bit about expectations and vendors coming in and out of venues, but also useful things for brides and grooms to make their experience a little bit more comfortable while we're all working together. So,
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I tell every couple that I meet on a site visit, when you feel, I feel like the best thing that can happen is when you feel that connection with that vendor, whether it's me or if it's another venue, I want you to go to somebody you feel that personal connection with. Because when you have that personal connection, all it makes me want to do is work even harder for you.
Yes.
So like personal connection, I feel like is everything. I mean, obviously budget and things like that have to do with it.
Yeah.
But when you feel that connection, I think that's a big, because you would expect the same thing out of a friend. You know, you don't just go meet somebody, oh, so-and-so said that person's cool, and then you go to that person and it's like, oh, you're gross. And then, but you
I have a
know.
couple people like that. So.
I think it's also important to actually meet the person because going by word of mouth, you might not mesh with them like someone else does.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No. Feel you.
I agree with that, and I also feel like the worst thing is when someone meshes, say, with me as a planner. I am not everyone's cup of tea, and everyone is not my cup of tea. And I'd rather, if we're not going to mesh, like, I'm okay, you do you, but the thing is, if they mesh with me and then we get to the venue and let's say we didn't get along, but they liked you and you're kind of being, you know, a certain kind of way with me, it's so deflating to the couples to see us have animosity. And I don't think that vendors on that end kind of feel like it might just be one meeting and then they go about their time. But I'm with these people for a year and they keep going back to that meeting we had saying, is everything going to be okay? Because they kind of came at you and you get, you know, that kind of thing. It makes it very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that vendors don't sometimes realize that. If there is no planner, it still could be that way with, I think you had said before, like a lighting company and a florist and things like that. Things always kind of come out. Don't think you're hiding it. You're not. They're picking up on the fact that you're trying to pull rank, and I don't think there should be a rank. It is what it is. We all have a role to play, and if you don't know my role, then call me and ask me. Don't think you know how I'm going to be, especially right now. We're dealing with a lot of wedding planners, photographers, florists. There's so many different categories in the, you know, wedding industry that people are seasoned and they know what they're doing, and maybe they're a little too big for their britches, or they are new and they don't know what they're doing, but they're trying to act like they do. Don't act like you know what you don't know, but also don't come at someone assuming you know how I'm gonna be, because you have no idea until we get in that situation.
And I think a lot of us got to where we are by learning from other people in our industry. You know, I mean, like good, bad, ugly, like, oh, I want to be like them or I don't want to be like them or whatever. So I think especially if you are on the newer side, that it is nice to reach out to Caroline or me or to a photographer or you know, just to form that vibe with you and really understand what you do. And again, it doesn't matter if it's the wedding planner or the band or the cake people. We're all here for one common goal, and there doesn't need to be any kind of this, you know, animosity amongst vendors for sure, especially in a city this small.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things that I do a lot, and I don't, again, I can only speak for the way that I work. If I've never worked with a vendor before, a venue, a floor, anybody, I definitely will reach out to that person and say, this is maybe how I do my timeline. Or with photographers in particular, they feel that they need to be doing the shot list and they do. Totally fine, but I'm gonna start off with my girls and my couples because I'm doing this for so long with them in terms of like being with them for a year. So it's coming into our tasks of things that we're gonna do. So when I send it to you, I always say, hey, if you need more time or less time, just let me know. But you don't have to then turn around and tell the client, like, these are my changes. They don't want the changes from you, otherwise they wouldn't have hired me. So you don't have to feel like, well, I have to tell them myself. just say, hey, this looks good, or give me more or less time. But I'd like to reach out to them to just get a feel for them myself. No problem. But I find my clients in particular, they don't want to deal with the logistics. Otherwise, they wouldn't be spending so much money to have somebody deal with the logistics.
And I will say that even though you and I have known each other for years and we've worked together a lot and had numerous weddings together, even though we are on that comfort level with each other, we still, every time we have a wedding together, we talk on the phone as if we are new to each other.
Exactly.
You call me all the time asking me questions. Can we do this? Can we not? And I do the same thing to you. Like, hey, I'm like, I just want to reach out to discuss this before we get involved in a bigger conversation with the couple present.
Yeah.
So,
and with Caroline too. Sometimes I do want something that I know is out of the ordinary, and I know the answer might be no, but I want to ask because my client is asking for it, and it goes a long way to just ask instead of just assuming, well, you owe me this.
It's any relationship.
It's not. Yeah,
Open
it's not like that, right?
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing too is, I feel like aside from knowing everyone's role, I think the other thing is really knowing where you're working, and in particular with the venues. And I'm going to let you guys talk a little bit more about this. I see a lot because I'm at so many different venues, and I have seen some people who do it very well. They're respectful of everyone's, house, so to speak. That's how I look at it. I'm coming into your place, so I want to make sure that, I'm not perfect. So if I mess up, I want you to tell me, you really can't do that, and let me know that so I can fix it. I don't want to come in and say, drop my stuff and, and kind of treat it like every venue is the same, because it's not. So you have to know. So you guys can kind of...
It's just mutual respect, honestly. I mean, we're all here for the same common goal and the same purpose. And I feel this. I feel that we are one of the easiest venues to deal with. We are, when Caroline sends out the vendor email, it's not just like hey, I want to check in how you're doing. Just like, hey, this is your load-in time. You need to respect these things because we have certain things going on that you're not thinking about, and we want to make sure that we're clear so you have an easy time loading in as well. We want to make it as easy as possible for everyone. We don't say no a whole lot, and if we do, it's because we know that it doesn't work, or no, you're not drilling into the walls. Kind of stuff. They're just running it, they're not buying the joint.
Right. There's a reason for everything. Nothing is just like throwing it into the thing.
I'm not doing it just to be...
If there's a no, there's a rhyme and a reason.
Right.
It's not just to be difficult.
Right.
I feel like in the same point, I want to say, like, from the vendor point of view, and I've had this happen at venues before, if you say load-in time is, let's say, 3 o'clock, I'm assuming it's load-in 3 o'clock, like my tables are down and my linens can be set and my floors can get in.
Yes.
It's another thing, too, and this is something for venues to be listening to, is it's respect, again, of those people's time when they're dropping linen or they're dropping florals or something like that. They're running to another event as well.
100%.
So when you had your staff that was late or whatever the case may be, or you say, oh, well, it's okay, we're going to be setting up while you get here. That's not fair either, because now all those other vendors, even though it's not my event, but I could be the event next week, that they're late because you didn't have it together on the front. With vendors, another portion that I kind of want to touch on is just really understanding what we're doing at the venue. I hate to be picking on bands because I really don't want to keep picking on the, one.
I love you guys. It wouldn't be a wedding without you.
I love musicians, I love bands, I love DJs, I love everybody. But this isn't just the band. I'm just bringing it up because there's more of them, so it makes a bigger difference. But I get this question all the time of whether or not they're allowed to eat off the buffet. Some of my clients are 100% no. They don't want vendors eating in public at all. It's just not an option for them. It really isn't. Sometimes it's about money, but sometimes it's really just about, kind of the image that we're giving off to their guests. And when I am working with a band who disregards that request and I see them in the buffet line, and then they're sitting at tables where guests are seated and they're eating with them, it's so annoying, and I don't understand why you think that that's acceptable. I understand that everyone's got it in contracts and riders and that kind of thing, and they're to feed you. They're not to feed you off the buffet or let you sit with their friends. Like, we're all still working, and that's just the reality of the situation. And there's been a lot of us that have had a much longer day, and I would never just sit at a table with a guest and be like, hey girl,
can I say something?
How's that steak? Like, what are you saying? Yeah.
But you know, when there is a thing in the rider
That's
that you have to
my
buy
thing,
them
yes.
food or whatever, and they don't want to see it, then
Yeah,
you can
that's
do a buyout
okay,
of food.
right.
Yeah, it's totally fine, and we can give them something totally in a separate room. If, you know,
Well,
whatever,
and my thing is,
but-
I don't care if you do it if it's okay
Yeah.
with the client. You know, but my issue is they've made a specific request and you feel that you're above that request. So I've got a photographer who's eating like a dry bologna sandwich in a, you know, back corner somewhere, who's been here for 10 hours, and then I've got 8 band members eating off the buffet with guests. It's again, it's understanding that the request is made and I'm telling you no, or the venue's telling you no because we were told no. It's not just bands. I'm just saying you guys are the bulk. Like you have bigger, you know, groups, and so it's a little bit more noticeable. You know, so that kind of stuff. I think it's understanding from the back end that it's costing the client more money, and it's also a look that they did not want at their reception. I have to say this because it's gonna. If we go back to it, it's gonna look even worse that we keep picking up it. I'm not picking on you, but bands, please stop bringing an entourage of people with you. It is definitely, it's noticeable, A, because they're not dressed appropriately, but B, because we already know the guest count, and so when all of a sudden like 10 more people come in and they're eating and whatever, stop doing it. Like, this is a wedding. It is someone else's big day. It is not a time for you and your friends to get free food and drinks. Like,
and I'll tell you from the
Sorry.
venue standpoint, like I don't know who's guests and things like that. I mean, most of the time I can tell, but you know, like sometimes, you know, we're clicking silently behind the scenes
Right.
of everybody that walks in. And if you do bring anybody, like whether it's photographers
Yeah.
or bands or anybody, the florist, like I'm gonna come see this wedding and hang
Right.
out, which is
Well.
weird, which has happened. But still, you know, like everybody gets clicked, and then I have to hand that couple a bill at the end
Right.
of the night if they've gone a certain
Yeah.
percentage over their head count, and they're
yeah,
like,
and it turns out it's all vendors.
and if you have things to say to us, I would love to hear this too.
100%,
Believe me,
yeah.
like anything that I can do to make anybody else's job
Right.
easier and more productive and everything, I would love to hear this kind of feedback. Honestly,
But
I
I think
would.
that's
Like,
So email so y'all can be on WEDucation and
Yes.
talk to other vendors.
say it
It's
to
all
my
about being a
face.
team.
I'm gonna move on to pick on videographers, and so what I'd like to say is I had a wedding a couple weeks ago, and the videographer actually put their camera down in the center of the aisle during the ceremony and left it. So I just want everybody to use their common sense here and let me know, what do you think the photographer got when they tried to get an aisle shot of the bride and groom?
Shots of somebody's Sony
Somebody's
Handycam.
camera sitting in the aisle. Here's my thing.
Did everyone have to walk over it?
No. It was like during the ceremony, like the bride had just gone down the aisle, and then one of the videographers like took an extra camera and just put it there to film the ceremony, and then he went around and like whatever.
What do you mean? I'm just gonna sit this
And I
right
get
here so we
it.
can.
Yeah, right. I mean, my thing is, if you wanted it there just for like a hot minute, go to the photographer and be like, it's gonna be just 1 second, like whatever. We had to actually ask the guy to move it because the photographer couldn't get any more shots.
And then he distracts everyone by walking
Right.
down the aisle.
It is the point, again, of knowing what someone else is doing. You're not the only person that's shooting that wedding. So we really need to be aware. And for me, again, I'm kind of in the back now. Like, I see a lot of different moving pieces and parts through a wedding because I'm on the outskirts at that point. Majority of my job is done once we get into the actual wedding. I'm really just running timeline at that point. But I know what each person is kind of like hired to do. So looking at everyone on like a bigger level and be like, that's not gonna work for that person, and that's really gonna screw up that person. Like, guys, please, like you know that. And videographers and photographers, I know this is an ongoing thing where people talk about wanting to work with certain people because they are good to work with.
Right.
And that's just a fact. So for newbies coming in, understand that there has to be a mutual respect because one is not more important or should be getting the shot and the other one shouldn't get it. Like that's not fair either. So I think, again, just knowing everyone's role and knowing everyone's significance and being aware that you're not the only, player, that day is
Sup,
really
player?
important. Yeah, well.
Just also communicate. Ask.
Yeah.
Like, there's like no hard question to ask. Like, just ask a question and throw it out there, even if you think it's stupid. Like,
Yeah.
can I put this camera in the middle of the aisle? No, because I'd really like to get an aisle shot in your
Right.
Or
communication vendors, that is the point of today. We're gonna end here. I'm gonna make one more plea to everybody. Step up your dress code game, guys. Ugh, God, please.
Stop showing up in flip-flops, y'all.
Please, do not wear shorts to a Catholic wedding.
Don't wear a t-shirt like me right now.
Guys, this is like game day Saints gear. This is not
Who dat?
wedding attire. And if you think it is, rethink your career path. Literally, we're at the Cathedral and the Ritz-Carlton, and you think shorts and flip-flops is appropriate. I understand you're running around, we're all running around. Go invest in some, even I'd like to see just black, all black is fine. Stop thinking that you're going for Jazz Fest.
We don't all have to be Kelly Sherlock and wear heels, but something
not the point.
professional.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, it is the point that these people are spending, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes.
It doesn't
And
matter if
you're
there's.
like-
I'm sorry. Wait, real
You're
quick.
right.
Okay, you're
it
right,
doesn't
you're
matter
right,
if you're
you're right,
spending
you're right.
10,000
You're
or
right.
100,000.
You're right.
You dress for the job that you want and the
You're
way
right.
that you want to portray yourself.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So it doesn't matter if it's 10,000 or 100,000.
I agree.
You need to look professional.
I agree.
Are you going into a job interview wearing flip-flops and a t-shirt?
No.
I hope not.
And
I was gonna say I hope not, but unfortunately, I kind of feel like.
And if
Yes.
it's before everything starts, it's fine. Nobody's
Right.
seeing you. But when it's
Oh,
the
yeah.
event is happening, I don't.
And if someone does, which good for them, approaches you about your dress code, don't take offense to it. They're trying to talk for the betterment of the wedding industry, in my
Right.
opinion, and just the professionalism. Like, this is a job.
It is a job, so treat it as such. But anyway,
Very demanding
yes.
job.
And trust me, we're aware you're not going to be able to feel your feet in the morning, and that's normal. So congratulations. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you would like to sit on this side of things and tell us what's bothering you and pick on venues and wedding planners, we're happy to hear it. So email me, call me. If you want to have a rebuttal to anything we're saying, we're totally fine with that too. So go ahead and just email me here. I wonder if that's gonna work. And don't forget, subscribe to the YouTube channel and like us, share, and definitely email, text, call with comments, questions, anything that you want us to cover. If you're somebody that's annoyed with something but you don't want to come on camera, I'm happy to talk about it for you. So tune in for the next episode of WEDucation, and thanks for watching.
Yay, WEDucation!
WEDucation!
Cheers. Wisconsin.
Me, me, my, no, me.
Oh, you're not gonna ask me again?
No, you have to start with your joke.
Oh, we're starting all over?